Nathan, man, how's it going?
Really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
Good.
It's warm today in LA.
It is. It's very warm. It's a beautiful day. And I'm adjusting. I've just got here from London.
So I moved out here probably 4 years ago, and it's just I've completely converted to.
How are you finding out here? Like moving out here, because like people are always like, Nathan, you're gonna move to LA,
right?
And you just can't see the move ever. Do you know what I mean? But how have you found it? You find it all right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the sun was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Because, in Seattle, it rains like 160 days straight. Yeah. And so for me, it was more of a thing like, oh, I can actually plan something fun. I can go have a picnic and not be rained on or like, I mean, I've never been to London, but I was going to ask.
That's London.
Really?
Yeah. London's great though. I live just outside of London. I live like 2 hours out. So I like getting in my car in London and driving home.
Right.
Because I'm like, now I can breathe.
Right.
So it's like, because obviously London's so intense and there's always stuff happening or I'm flying in or out of London. Mm-hmm. So everything's always moving at such a fast pace. And I'm very fortunate and very grateful that that's my life.
Yeah.
But then when there is that moment to go home and see my family, it's and you can really calm down now, because like the pace of life 2 hours out of London is just so much slower.
Really?
So like if you're in like a very like promo heavy schedule, you'll get back home to Gloucester and just people will be like, who's this crazy person driving and running around our city like some madman who's always rushing to get anywhere. It's like, so we're chilled like out here. You need
you're
to
a
calm
suburb
down.
kid.
Yeah, absolutely. So so it calms me right down.
Is that one of the things then that might be holding you back? Because that was something I was going to ask you was would you? I mean, you're here. How many times are you here a year?
A
lot, right?
Yeah, because to be fair, I write about half the album out here as well. Because all the British songwriters and producers have moved to LA. They're like, wait, so I can be in a studio all day and walk outside, and it can be sunny, and they're like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So they all kind of left very quickly. And more people's moving out here. So I'm writing obviously a lot of music out here. So I think whenever it's time to put all the ideas that I've been writing down, I'm going to be spending a big chunk of time here.
Yeah. I mean, I would, just as a creative, like I'm an artist as well. And so just being in this community of people, it's that energy, Of
course, absolutely. But it's like, for me, I like writing on the road. I like writing in hotel rooms. I write songs in the strangest places.
So you can write anywhere then?
Yeah, I've written some of the best songs I've ever written in the shower. And literally like when I'm planning for the next album, there's a lot of ideas that have come when.
Do you use the voice memos on?
Absolutely, hanging out of the shower. You can hear the shower in the background and me singing into my voice memos, and it's just like.
Do you have them from like? Because I have voice memos from like 2009.
Yeah. From
like way back, and I don't even know how to take them off my phone and store them because they just gotta stay.
Yeah, they have to stay.
Yeah.
And when you go back, I was going over a few voice notes the other day. I do it every now and then, like once every 2 or 3 months. I'll go over a couple of things and be like, oh, I remember that being really good, and then be like, oh no, I'm not really feeling. But then just finding like a little gem in there and being like, now where has this come from? And then you get really excited about that. And
I have to put like good on it, like because there's so many. I have to be like, this one's good.
No, I leave them all open so I can come back and revisit them and keep on going. And like, there's a couple of songs on the album, Famous in particular, that started in the shower, and a song called Money. That chorus was I just got out of the shower and I was just singing, and I was like, this is really strong. And I went to the studio that day and we were doing something vibey, and I was like, wait, if I change it a tiny bit to make it a bit longer, I can get the chorus.
That's
awesome.
And
then I was like, this is it. It's simple.
Man, there's something, I don't know what it is, but like something about the shower. Is it the reverb? Is it the vibes? Is it because you're completely
no, you know what it is?
Vulnerable?
Nope. There's no technology. There's no technology. There's no emails. There's no Twitter. There's no people texting or calling you.
Right.
There's nothing. And that's why I'll be in the shower like ages. I'll be like, because it's time to yourself, where you can just be like chilling.
Right. You know, I read this thing about Woody Allen and how he would he would come up with a lot of ideas and develop the ideas in his head through showers. So he would take like 4 showers a day. Like 4 hot showers. Like whenever he needed to like dive into an idea and really work it out in his head, he would like, I mean, I can only imagine that water bill, but hey, whatever works,
that's
you know?
cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, you might want to...
I like that.
Especially, you know, if you're chilling in a hotel, like...
Yeah,
go for it.
it's relaxing.
Now, I mean, so I was going to ask you, so are you a lyrics first guy? Are you melody first guy? Are you track first and then build? Like what's
I don't work to track because I don't build the track myself. So I'll come up with the foundations of the song, like a concept or a melody, and it will be, or a lyric, and it will all come together as one, like they pair together in my head.
Right.
Like it's very rare I'll sing something down without lyrics to it. Right. If I go back and like the song Famous on my album, that was the concept of Will You Call Me When I'm Famous, but to a completely different melody to what we ended up working on.
Oh, interesting.
And then Harmony Samuels, who I was working with, he started playing these chords and then started singing this top line, and he was like, wait, what did you say the other day that everyone was like, you're crazy, you can't say that in a song, it's really offensive? And I was like, will you call me when I'm famous? He's like, and I was like, whoa. And then it just went from there. So it's you never know when you're gonna pluck out an idea. Right. But it's fun kind of building the songs, and especially if I'm at home for a few days, I'll sit down at the piano and just write.
Yeah, just bash something out.
But I wouldn't build the tracks myself because I think there's people who spend years and years and years working on it, and I wouldn't want to go in and try and tell them what to do. Just as I wouldn't want people telling me how to sing, because I'm like, no, I've got this covered. I'm good on singing. It's like
right. Like, you know, spread it out to who's good at what and all that. So the song Famous then, so where did that come from then? Like you were talking a little bit about the concept. Where did that, is that something that you've been wanting to write about for a while?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very dark underlying theme to the song that does address the fame and the interesting side of fame that it's very fickle. But the main idea within the song is what do I have to do to make you care about me as much as I care about you? And it's like, do I have to be more popular? Do I have to be more successful? Do I have to? And it's like, what extent do I have to go to? Right. It's like, do I have to be famous? But then there's also that underlying sense of, is that all you really care about?
Right.
And there was a time, like especially after The Wanted took a break, like I was talking to someone, and it was all very good, and then The Wanted took a break and they cut me off, and I was like, oh, okay. And then
really?
And that's where the idea came from, because I turned around to someone and I went, it's
that's
right.
Revealing.
I was like, they'll call me when I'm famous. And I was like, whoa, where's my phone?
Voice note.
I'm writing this down. And then the next day in the shower, I was singing this melody with Will You Call Me When I'm Famous. I was like, this works as a song. This really works. This is a very special record.
That's awesome.
And that's, yeah. And then obviously it just kept on building and building and building. We rewrote the song a few times because I didn't want it to be attacking. I wanted it to feel hopeful and positive. Even though it is sad, I wanted it to feel hopeful instead of, I hate you. You're only interested in my fame and my potential.
Right. Is that something that you want to do with your music then, with the music? Because, you know, it must be different from creating now that you're solo versus with the boys.
Completely different.
Is there something in your music that you're trying to like address, or is it like stories about your life, or what's kind of the...
You know what? I think for the first time it's stories of my life. It's my life experiences. And there are times when I just sit there, especially in bad situations, I will sit there and just laugh to myself now. And people will be like, why are you laughing? This is really bad. I'll just be like, this is going to make the best song. And so I don't really get mad at certain things now, especially with relationships and stuff like that. If they don't go well, or if it kind of fizzles out, I'm just like, good, great songwriting material this, I tell you.
That's got to be freeing because, you know, not to get too deep, but I feel like there's always like an opposite thing with artists, right? Well, sometimes the happiest artists write about, I'm a very happy person, like I love people and all that, but for some reason I like to write music about sad things.
Of course. And you know what it is? I think as songwriters, we teach ourselves, or we unintentionally train ourselves to be extreme. So like when we're happy, we are so happy. But then when we're sad, we're heartbroken and we're devastated to get the best out of our writing ability. Right. So even though there is that moment of, oh my God, this is going to make a great song, then when you really sit down to write it, it just all starts pouring out.
Yeah.
Like even with the song I Can't Be Mad on my album, which I wrote with Babyface, which was like a dream come true.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'll pick up that name drop later. But it's just like...
yeah, man.
But it's just
drop
like...
that name.
Honestly, it's like the coolest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. But we ended up writing the most heartbreaking song sat around his piano. And it was just like the biggest release of emotion, because I've been building it up for so long about a certain time in my life, which was just really dark. And I was just like, I'm not mad at the person. It's like, it's my fault that I got so invested. And then I was like, whoa, here we go. We're getting deep. And it's a really like emotional moment. So as much as the album's funky and is soulful, it goes really sad as well.
I love what you said there. I mean, I think music it's such a, I feel like, I heard this one thing that Steven Spielberg said, that food is the great medium, because it's between cultures. I mean, different cultures can come together over food, but I feel like music is that same type of thing.
Absolutely.
It can no matter where you're from, and I mean, you're an international star, so I feel like you've met so many different people that somehow all congregate around this.
No, that's absolutely right. It's like I was lucky enough to go out to the Philippines and Hong Kong.
I'm Filipino.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was just there last year.
Yeah, I was in Manila a couple of months ago, and it's
nice.
And going out to Southeast Asia, there is a language barrier, but when you sit down and sing these songs, it's like with Over and Over Again, they knew every single word and they knew the meaning behind the song.
Wow.
And it evoked an emotion. You've got people there just like crying, or they're in like loved up with someone special to them. And it's like, wow. For me to write that song, sat in a studio about 10 minutes away from where we are at the moment, I'm really bad at telling people how I feel in person. So I put all my feelings into my songs. And I was like, I need to express how I feel about someone. And we did that in Over and Over Again. And to have people across the world like using it as their first dance at their weddings, walking down the aisle to it. I had someone drop down on one knee at a gig the other day. I was like, okay, well, not to me, to their now fiance, which is great. So it's like,
that's amazing.
It's really nice that no matter where you go in the world, music can always bring people together, and lyrics as well. It's like you'll speak to someone and they won't be able to speak that good English. Mm-hmm. But then you start singing, they can sing every single word back to you in perfect English, and it really is amazing.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I mean, music is such a gift, and I feel like, us as musicians can really use it for really good things.
Absolutely, and it's our job to keep the quality good for people to keep on enjoying.
Yeah, so I mean, one thing I've been wanting to ask you is, did you grow up musical then? Did you grow up like around music, like since you were out of the womb?
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be fair, straight out really into music. My mum's a music teacher, and she loves teaching. So she cut her paternity leave short and took me with her to the music lessons.
No way.
Lessons. So I was sat there listening to people learning how to play instruments from a very young age, and then around the age of 5 or 6 I was like very actively wanting to get on stage and perform for people.
At 5 and 6? Wow.
Yeah, so I'd just like jump up and just start singing for people all the time. They'd be like, God, he's doing that
I bet
again.
she loved that. Usually it's like the parents trying to get their kids to get
but that's the thing, she couldn't stop me. and it's like, that's what's so amazing about my mum.
Awesome.
It's like she'd never push me or want me to do anything. She's like, do whatever you want in life. You've got to find your way yourself. And of course, I'm always going to be there to support you, which is incredible. I've got the most supportive family on the planet, but no one ever wanted this more than I do, which I think sometimes can be a bit scary, is that parents do want it more than their kids sometimes. And that should never be the case.
Right. That's how you run into a lot of
absolutely,
family dynamic, especially here in LA. I mean, story after story,
Of course. And that's why people can get themselves into trouble. But I think with my family, they kind of let me lead the way, and I'd be buying like music magazines where there'd be like adverts for like shows and stuff, and I'd be like, Mum, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And there was like a time where I could perform at Old Trafford, which is like the Man United stadium. So I'm a big football fan. So I was like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So
do you remember your first gig then? Like when you were
my first gig, I was 6. Yeah, it was
6.
Yeah, I was 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
My first gig was at 16.
Yeah. No, by 16, I got signed at 16.
That's amazing.
So I was, like, at the age of 11, I got into a music school. I cut out the advert in the paper. I took it to Mum and went, I want to audition for this school.
Your decision.
Yeah, and it's like a private music school. And she was like, you just got into a really good school. Like, you've worked hard and you've got into a good school. And I'm like, yeah, no, I want to audition. I won't get in. And even if we do get in, it's a very expensive school.
Wow.
And they do like 2 scholarships a year. I was like, I'm not going to get in, but I want to see where I am and where I compare to other kids my age.
That's really like advanced for
Literally.
How old were you? You were
11.
Yeah.
I was 10 at the time. So I was like, I want to see if I've got a realistic chance of being a musician when I'm older. And she's like, that makes sense. Cool. Okay.
You're the smartest 11-year-old, like literally. The most woke 11-year-old ever.
No, but that's the thing. But it's like going through all these thoughts. I was always thinking ahead. And because I've been so driven since the age of 6 to further my career and to make my dream a reality, I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. So kept on going to these auditions, getting through. And then we got a call. We want to give you a full scholarship. And I was like, oh, God. And it was in London. And I'm like, I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't expecting it. And then they were like, by the way, no one's ever turned down a full scholarship. I was like, oh Christ. So I was like, what am I going to do? Man. I was like, I can't turn down a full scholarship to one of the best music schools in the country.
So it's like the best, it was like the best worst case scenario.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to move to London. We can't afford to move to London. I'm not going to make my family move to London. I don't want to live with some of the family. I was like, I travel every day. So I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, got on the train at 6, got into London at 8, got to school at 8:30, finished school at 4, got on the train at 4:30, got home at 7, stayed up till 11 doing homework and got up at 5 the next morning for school. So that was my life for 5 years, like training myself to be
from like 12
dedicated. 11 to 16.
Oh my goodness.
And then at 16 I got in the Wanted, and then
I was going to ask you. So that's around that time that happened.
Yeah, and then it was literally straight out of school, straight into the Wanted.
My girlfriend always says that, like, I mean, just in entertainment, she always says LA, but like there's opportunities that present themselves all the time, and sometimes you just kind of got to go where where momentum is. Was that kind of a thing?
Well, you know what? Like, what changed it for me is finding out that the audition that got me in the band was me singing Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
and I was like, because I went in with the mentality, all these kids are singing, say kids, like the closest age to me was like, I was 16, the next one was Jay and he was 19, and then everyone else was like 22, 23, and I was like, which is the same age as I am now. So I was like,
you were the
crazy.
Kid.
I was the youngest by a long way.
Wow.
They were all singing boy band songs, and I was like
some NSYNC.
I don't care. I'm not going to get in this band. All these kids are older than me. They're all like, 6 years older than me. I'm not going to get in this. So then I sit there and sang Lately. And then apparently as I walked out, they all just went, well, he's in. And I was like, and I was the first one in. So I was like, well, this is cool. So, but I think that people were more open to the idea of a new form of boy band as such.
Right. Well, and even your mentality, like, I feel like a lot of things, like, do you still carry that mentality? Like people talk about, things start happening when you stop caring so much. Because, as artists, we can really get care. I mean, like we obviously should care about our craft, our career, but sometimes it can be over, like we can over care.
No, you know what it is when you start paying attention to everyone else. And I think if I sat here, I'm worried about when I use the word worry, I mean worry.
Yeah.
About what Justin Bieber's doing and what Shawn Mendes doing and Charlie Puth and all these other incredibly talented guys. Like Zayn, Harry. I start worrying about what they're doing. I'm going to end up doing a tribute act to them. Because I'm going to be going, I want to make music like Justin, and I want to make music like Zayn's doing. It's like, concentrate on yourself, be yourself, and do what's good for you. If people like it, great. If they don't, at least you try doing it your way.
Right.
And that's the thing. And it's like,
amen, man. That's good. That's real good.
But that's the thing. And it's like, if people like it, then great. But if not, then you are always true to yourself. If you start worrying about other people, you're going to end up paying so much attention to them that you're going to try and be them.
Right.
So what I think is that the more that I just sit back and enjoy listening to their music and go, that's really good. I'm happy for them. They're doing so well. And I'm a fan. So like, I'll sit there and like, I was driving back home from London to Gloucester the other day, blaring Charlie Puth's album because I think it's really good. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not sat there analysing it going, oh God, I should do something like this because this worked, and this was a hit single. I should try and do that.
Pre-chorus was like that,
and, of course, you know. But that's what works for him. Right. And it's like,
well, isn't that what an artist is? You know, like I always think that art in any medium, whether you're a painter or a singer, it is your soul in that form. Yeah. And isn't that what the big, you know, as artists, like that what we look up to, like, would we want them to do a record that's like another art? Like, no, right?
But all the great artists, they were true to themselves, and they always were, and they're the ones that we remember. And it's
timeless.
But that's the thing, you want to create timeless music, and music that people remember in 30, 40, 50 years time, or even more so, you want to create music that lives longer than you do. That's the end goal. I want my music to outlive me. Hopefully that's a long way away, and not a couple of months away. So it's like, that's the goal, and I think it always should be for any artist. But obviously everyone's got a different motive, which has got to be respected. Some people are like, I want to do this for a few years and I want to settle down and have a family, and or I want to make a bit of money and stop doing it. It's like, it's not for me. I don't like traveling, but I'm sat here like with the mentality at the moment, I want to do this till the moment I die. So I think music will always come first to me. Right. And if it doesn't, then you can quote this back to me and show me. But
email it back to you. So then, you know, that brings us here to the album then, right? Yeah. So you've been working on a full length.
Yes.
And you've dropped a couple singles? One single?
Yeah, I've 3 singles now.
3 singles, yeah.
Yeah, so I've Kiss Me Quick over and over again, and my new single, Give It Up.
Give It Up, man. That's, I gotta say, so Give It Up, it's featuring G-Eazy, obviously.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But the song, there's that part, "Stay with me," and so it's a reference, obviously, to Blackstreet song.
Absolutely.
Were you a fan of Blackstreet?
Of course.
Come on, man.
And what I love about that, this is the only song on the album that I didn't start working on. It was already an idea that was there, and it came in right at the end, and the idea got sent across.
How much of it was developed?
It was, to be fair, it was down the line, and it was you could hear the song, and I'm like, okay, I wanted to write everything myself. I wanted to start every idea from something that I've experienced, and I was like, this is really good though. And I think you can
kind of compromise.
But that's the thing, you can be like the most artistic person on the planet and be like, no, I want to write everything myself and write from my experiences. But a hit's a hit at the end of the day,
right?
And a good song's a good song. Like people driving in their cars aren't listening to that and going, oh, well, he thought about this when he was driving down the highway in Seattle. Like they're not thinking that. They're thinking this is a good song, and you've got to appreciate good music. And so I was like, I love this, and the interpolation on Blackstreet as well. I was like, it's so unexpected because everyone would expect another song. If you're going to interpolate Blackstreet, they're expecting something else. So I was like, I love this so much because it makes you think, what's this? I know this from somewhere,
right?
And so I went in and finished the song. So
did you cut that here?
Yeah, we did. We cut it in LA.
How long ago was that?
That just 6 months ago.
Oh wow!
It happened very quickly.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, really quick. The album was done. It was signed off.
Damn.
For the third time.
Man.
And the time before I signed it off, I was like, I'm not finished. I need to write 2 more songs. Came out here, wrote over and over again, and the last track on the album, I Remember You. So I was like, I can tell when it's not quite finished, and I felt there was something missing. Then Give It Up came along, and I went in, finished it. We changed the production a whole load, and changed a few things within the song, and kind of just made it all kind of fit together a bit more. So
I watched a couple interviews of you before this, and you're the first person that I've ever heard say this, but you were talking about how when you're in that creation mode, you don't listen to anything else but what you're working. Like you listen to your music, right? Because I thought I was so I'm a singer and producer myself, and I thought I was a crazy one. And the super vain one that was just listening to my songs over and over again.
I think Bruno tweeted something like that the other day. He's like, I've listened to so much of my own music, I don't even know what's in the charts anymore. I was like, fair play. But it's true, and I think people are scared to say it because people don't want to sound arrogant.
Right.
They don't want to be like, well, all I've listened to is my music. But it's like now, because the album's finished, I can start listening to other people again. It'd be like, it's like literally, like I said the other week, I listened to the Charlie Puth album for the first time. Like that's been out, nearly a year?
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've listened to it. And I'm a big Charlie Puth fan. So I was like, I would have expected myself to be straight onto it. And I was like, I only got around to listening to it for the first time the other day, like start to finish. And I was like, this is amazing. So, but it just kind of shows, because I'm such a perfectionist, I always want to be listening for little things and ways to improve it, because if you are listening to other people's music, you're going to be influenced by them.
Right. So do you listen to other people's music when you're creating, like as like research then? No. So none.
Nope. No.
Wow.
And
do you listen to, maybe you're like like from people from way before or anything like that, or just specifically?
No, I think like when I listen to older stuff anyway. So I'll listen to Donny Hathaway, I'll listen to Frank Sinatra.
Oh wow.
And I'll listen to older music. But like more recently, I'll listen to like Gregory Porter, and Leon Bridges, and so it's.
I see.
It's slightly different from what I'm creating, but at the same time, like I want to create my own sound. I don't want like I said, I don't want to do a tribute act to anyone. I don't want to do music that sounds a lot like what someone else has just put out, because by the time you end up releasing it, it's 2 years old. So it's you don't want to be doing
so true
like a version of I don't know, a Shawn Mendes song or even a Leon Bridges song that got released 2 years ago, because people are going to be like, oh, this sounds like something that was cool 2 years ago. You want to be forward thinking. You want to be thinking all the time of what's right for you as an artist. And like at the moment, I'm not only thinking album 2, I'm thinking what's going to sound good in album 3. So where I want to take the music from album 1 to album 2 to make that sound good and feel a progression on that, but then at the same time, I want to be able to take it. I want to know where I'm going.
Right.
So I know what I'm writing on album 2.
And like with, one thing a lot of artists I feel like are scared of is like irrelevancy or relevancy. But I mean, what's relevant is is your artistic touch. It's you as an artist is what's relevant.
And I think what's scary, I think, is the unknowing.
Right.
I think in any, like most of the lines of work, you can see what you're going to be doing in 5 years' time. With this, you don't know what you're doing in a year's time. Like either your music's going to work and people are going to like it, or they're not. It's like,
now, do you find that scary, or
no?
Do you
that's
find
wherever though, because awesome. You could be a new up and coming artist, not knowing whether you're going to be making music or be the biggest artist on the planet in 3 years' time, or it can be the flip. Right. You can be the biggest artist on the planet, and you could be thinking, are people going to like my new music? Is it going to work for me?
Right.
It's like we had that with The Wanted when we had Glad You Came. It was the #1 radio record of, I think, 2012 or something.
Yeah, that was massive.
But that's the thing. But then we're sat there going, are people going to like our next song?
Right.
Do they like the song?
Right.
Do they like us?
It sets a tone, right? It sets like an expectation.
But that's the thing. And like people expect another Glad You Came, but then people don't expect Glad You Came to sound like another Glad You Came. But then we're going, are they fans of the band or are they fans of the song? If they're fans of the song, we need another song as good as that. Because any fans of the band, I mean, it all gets complicated. So it's like, I think with music, it's something that you can be excited about, because I think this industry is the industry where everything kind of happens for a reason, and what's meant to be is meant to be kind of works probably for this industry more than any other industry. And I think that's the truth. I think what's meant to be is meant to be. If you're meant to be doing this for the rest of your life, then that's that. And if not, find ways to inspire people to potentially fulfill their dreams.
Do you like, going back to what you said, with this day and age, with internet taking over and labels changing, like, it's kind of a crazy time that we live in, you know, what a time to be alive.
Absolutely.
What do you think then in this discussion is more important? Is it the song that it's a hit necessarily, or is it the artist and their continual, the continued art that they continue to put out?
I think both apply. I think obviously everyone needs hits to keep on making music, and obviously with record labels, you need to be making money for them to invest money in you, because they're not going to spend a whole load of money on an artist that isn't making money.
Right.
But it's about gaining the faith from the record label and showing to them that you have the potential to be a long-term artist.
Have what it takes.
And have what it takes, and have the drive. And because if you start ringing up and going, I don't want to go to work today. First problem, you've put it work. This isn't work. You get to talk about music and sing for a living.
Right.
This isn't work.
That most people use for leisure.
Do you know what I mean? It's like people dream of doing this. Like people would kill to do what we do. And that's the thing. Like the minute you appreciate that, you're in a good place. It's like if you like wake up, you're like, I get to talk about music and sing for people today.
24/7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then when people are like, oh, I don't want to do that today, that's when the label's going to be like, you don't want to do this. You're only in it for the money or the fame or something like that. So I think part of it is showing to the label that you're willing to put in all the hard work and effort and have that drive to succeed. But then I think obviously hits are important. I think the industry is changing. I think there's a bigger divide between singles artists and album artists than ever before.
Well said, yeah.
So I think you can not necessarily have a hit single on the album, but still shift a whole lot more than a lot of people who do have hit singles. Right. Because it depends what sort of artist you are. So it's a really interesting time, and I think with streaming, I think it's great because it shows that there can be a lot more artists. I think had I have been in the 90s releasing music at the same time as the likes of Troye Sivan, Charlie Puth, Shawn Mendes, Justin Bieber, Harry Styles, Zayn, Nick Jonas, it's like all these people, we'd all be worried,
right? Because
we'd be going, so all these people potentially buying our music have got to choose one of us.
Right.
Maybe two.
You could count on one hand how many successful artists they were.
Of course.
And obviously, those 5 people were all making boatloads of money.
But that's the thing. But now we're in a good place where with streaming, you pay so much a month and you can listen to whoever you want.
Everything.
So I think there is a really positive side of streaming that people aren't paying maybe enough attention to.
Right.
Is that as much as people kind of, it's a conversation. Let's put it that way. It's definitely a conversation, but I think it's very healthy because it allows people who want to support our music to support as many different artists as they want.
Right.
So I think it then is just down to us to keep on making good music that people like.
Yeah, I think good will always be good.
Yeah.
I think with streaming and, YouTube and things like that, there's been a lot of people talk about oversaturation, but the cream I feel like will always rise to the top.
99.9% of the time. Right. I think obviously that there are artists that we find that we go, wow, why didn't that catch? Yeah. And it's just them being in the wrong place, in the wrong era, in the wrong year. Other artists releasing at the same time around them that had more things going for them, more press, more promo, the right TV look, the right song, whatever. And I think, but 99% of the time, in the long term, I think it will get there.
Do you think that it's on us as artists more nowadays to kind of float our own ship per se, where like, before we were talking about in the 90s, it was like the musicians could focus just on music 100% of the time, but now it feels like there's a lot more responsibility for artists with Twitter. You're really good on Twitter, on different social media platforms and all that.
And I think I think it's interesting because we're this generation that is going to have no training in social media. I think what's going to be important for artists further down the line is that they're trained how to do it properly.
Right.
And when I mean trained to do it properly, they're not sat up at 3:00 in the morning reading mean tweets about them. Because it's true, and it can, as much as we can laugh about it on like really funny YouTube videos when you've got super famous people reading mean tweets and stuff. It's amazing. Like, I've sat there and done it.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah.
But there is a side as well, especially when you're younger. When I was, 17, 18, I'd sit there reading these comments, especially after like a big TV performance. That little one can't sing. And you're like, they can't sing. And then you see a few of them, and it's like, for every 1,000 nice tweets, there's 3 bad tweets.
Right.
But the 3 bad tweets are the ones that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the more the kids coming through, I say kids, I'm 23 years old, but it's like the kids coming through, I think there will be and should be a lot more help for them to kind of process social media.
How do you deal with those types of things? Because those
I mute people so often.
Yeah,
like I see people like
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, of course. Because you don't have to block them, because that's giving them attention. Then they know they've upset you.
That's true.
If you mute them, it's the best thing on the planet, because you can just go, I've had enough of you, goodbye, and you don't see them again.
Wow.
And it's as simple as that. I mute so many people. It's fun. Because you do, and it's just about. I think the luckiest thing for me, I think everyone goes through a bit of a time when they enjoy life a bit too much, and they get a bit too big for their boots. And it's like, I did that when I was like 18 or 19. So I had like 3 weeks where I was a bit crazy. Then I went home. My mum looked at me and she was like, "You need to sort your life out. What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Oh," she's like, "Stop it." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then that was that. And so I got it out of the way. Then after that, you kind of just learn to appreciate how lucky you are every day doing what you love and making music that people can relate to. And it is an ever changing music industry, and it's an industry that I think a lot of people are going to be playing catch up to for a long time, because it's moving so quick.
Right. I listen to a lot of. I'm really into like audiobooks and like self-help. Like, it's funny because I've been working on my album as well, and I'm in that point with you where you just focus in. And so what I do a lot of times in the mornings on like a run, I just listen to audiobooks. Yeah. And there's this woman named Brene Brown, and she's an amazing. I love her. But the biggest thing she said, to go back to the whole mean tweet thing, I feel like that whole cyberbullying thing is such a massive. It's something that has always talked about, but I feel like people don't really know how to deal with, of course. And
because it's new.
Because it's new, right?
That's the thing, and people have never experienced it before. It's like, we've seen bullying before in the playground and at work and stuff like that, and we've seen people acting in a negative way, but we've never seen it online before. And the only thing is, like, the way I look at it now is, whereas 10 years ago you'd sit there, you'd watch TV and you'd watch an artist perform on TV, and you go, I didn't like that. Sat in your living room,
right?
And 3 people hear it: your mum, your dad, and your sister.
Maybe your dog.
And your dog. 3 or 4 people hear it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And maybe in the playground or at work or whatever, the next day you go, I didn't really like that. And they go, oh, I thought it was all right. And they go, okay. And that's the end of that. Yeah. Now you go online and everyone's got an opinion. Yeah. And it stays. So I think it's a whole new world that is I think we've had to learn how to use it properly. Right. And I think once you do, and once you you just bounce those comments off and bounce negative people off.
Good, man.
It's about the energy that you put around you. If you put around yourself a good energy and you try and give out a very positive energy to people will give it back. And I think the main thing is just remembering how lucky we are to get to do what we love every day, and we're lucky enough we get to inspire people as well. So I think the more we can do that, and the more positive we can keep it, and try and put a positive spin on everything that happens in the world. It's like, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world that is out of our control, but what we can control is the positive energy that we put out. And if we continue to do that, then we're going to be in a good place.
That's amazing, man. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much.
Give It Up with featuring G-Eazy is out.
Yeah, it's out now. And the album Unfinished Business is out on November the 4th.
November 4th.
Yeah.
So keep track, guys. Can't wait. Nathan Sykes in the building. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.